It's not a regular presentation. I've made a few slides. I'll go over about our process and how we raised money, and obviously each process I think is unique, although everyone can find commonalities of what they're looking for. And then we'll try and open up for Q&A and anything that is interesting, either on the company side, on Modi's side, on how to get funding. So a little bit about TabTale and our process. We founded the company, 3 fathers or founders or both in 2010. iPads were announced, Flash was banned from iOS, and we thought that was a good time to try and create a technology platform that would allow us to do great content for kids. We created a technology platform, and November 2010, we released our first app. It was an interactive book called Christmas Tale. It reached number 3 in the US overall, and number 1 in books. It gained 500,000 downloads within the first 3 weeks, and back then there were 11 million iPads. So that was something like 5% market share. So that was really great. One issue with the Christmas Tale, it had no way to monetize yet. It was free. So we did prove that we can create content and the technology was sound, but nothing about monetization back then. And throughout 2010 and the beginning of 2011, in parallel to self-funding, we started trying to raise money. Doing a gaming company is not something you can just have 2 or 3 guys in a garage and just writing code. You need art people, you need sound people, you need different expertise that are just not being well accommodated in 3 people out of a technology unit in a garage. So we started going out. Our presentation was kind of naive. We said, okay, we've built great technology, we understand kids' psychology, we define great products, and with the creative process, it's going to be, it's a multi-domain expertise. It's really innovative and interesting, and this is why we should raise money. iPads are growing. By the way, this is from 2010, IDC. You cannot see the number, I think, but they anticipated that in 2015 there will be like 50 million iPads, and that was the optimistic forecast. We thought that it's going to be even more. Business model started as premium, having premium and freemium. Back then, 2010, 2011, that was kind of good for kids. And we wanted to raise milestones, $500,000, seeking some funding. And we started getting all sorts of, so we went to a lot of angels, VCs. They were all really nice, heard us, listened to us, mostly wanted to keep in touch, and we got all sorts of great refusals or introduction to other people. And the core issue was it was really hard back then, I think still is today, especially in Israel, to invest in a non-pure play technology company. So we were very interesting, they liked the team, they liked what we were doing, but it was just not what they wanted, what they're planning to invest in a company that is doing both content and technology. And our motto was content driven by best technology. It wasn't really back then gaining the right audience for it. And then came one day, I remember it was January. We just turned the year. Christmas Tale was still kind of nice, and I received this nice email from Modi. He found us through IVC, and he wrote, "Dear Sagi, my name is Modi. It's there, and we're investing, and let's talk." Less than a month later, we already had a couple of meetings, sent presentations. Things picked up quite rapidly. As you can see, a week later, there was already some agreement papers, and a few weeks afterwards, we signed and we closed the first round of investment. And for us, that was one of the most important rounds we've done. We've raised in total $13.5 million, but that first round was the most important one because without that, we wouldn't have been here. This is a nice picture of our ups and downs. It kind of tells the story of TabTale in a naive, childish way. But as you can see, it's a Luna Park. In Luna Park, you go up and you go down. And as any company, we went up and we went down, and there are bumps. And I think one of the important and key issues is to have your partner, your investors, that is also sitting with you together in your board, together with you in all the hurdles. When it's fun and it's nice, then you can interview together. And when it's hard, they have their experience and they can support you in going forward. And Magma, for us, has been there. When we had another round in early 2013, they immediately took the whole round. And our last round was in 2013, where they led the round, then later joined with Qualcomm Ventures, but that was a major round, a $12 million round. So they've been there for the entire duration for us, not only from a money perspective, but also from the experience, partnership, and I think at the end for us, building a company is about building the DNA. And you have your partners, your employees, and your investors. They're all part of the DNA. They will determine where you can go, what you can dream of, what you can do next. And it's really important, and it worked out for us in trying to build the DNA all over. So not saying, okay, I just need the money, I don't care where it's going to come from, is one approach, but if you want to go forward, I think that it's not the right approach. Just as a kind of our credentials, so we are ranked number 6 on the downloads, App Annie, a combined ratio of iOS and Google Play, reaching any number between 30 and 40 million downloads every month. Over 350 games, 800 million downloads, so very fast closing on being a downloads unicorn. 40 million unique active monthly users, and not only in remote, isolated countries, but 50% in the US. 250 employees, globally spread over 8 locations. Israel is the headquarters, but we have great teams in the US, in China, in East Europe, in Macedonia, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Serbia, and Belarus. So it's a kind of global talent pool that we tap out of. Last slide on my part is just we managed to join the mobile leaders. This is a slide that is part of one of the largest banks covering the gaming industry. So we are positioned somewhere there with the mobile giant, with the King and Good Games, so Rovio, Wuga. So very proud to be to have joined this leading team.
I'll just say a few words. The session is about TabTale, not about Magma. So I'll just say a few words about Magma as a venture firm. So I co-founded the firm in '99, so we've been doing venture investing now for 16 years. We're generally speaking an early stage investor, so most of what we do is very early stage. Over the years, we accumulated over $500 million in assets under management in 4 funds. Now we're investing out of Magma 4, which we raised last summer, which is a $150 million fund. We've created in the last 3-4 years exits north of $2 billion, of which probably the most famous one is Waze. We were the seed and absolutely the first investor in Waze. In terms of results, we're ranked top fund globally. That's in a nutshell. Just to give you a quick view on our portfolio. This is our whole portfolio. It's a lot of companies, and it's spread across a lot of domains. So we invest in cloud, we invest in SaaS services, we invest in mobile, of course, we invest in cybersecurity a lot. So it's the only information technology and communication space. Thank you.
So we prepared some questions up front, but if you have any question that you want to ask, then we would be happy to answer. But some more guiding questions that we...
So, Moti, 15 years ago when you started the fund, sort of what led you, what was your background and sort of led you to becoming a strategic investor?
I was working at the time. I was a telecom expert. Okay, there was a distinction in. We're talking really many years, '99, the previous century, right? So at the time there was a distinction between communication and IT, and I was a communication expert working with a lot of leading companies in the communication space as an advisor, and I started Magma because I got fed up from my job. Basically, it was boring. It got me boring. I guess a lot of startups, because Magma was a startup at the time. I guess a lot of startups start like that, by people wanting to move forward and do something else. And in '99, I thought it was a good idea to found or to start a fund that just focused on communication investments in Israel. And that was the initial focus of the fund. In '99, it's something that triggered our investors to invest in us, which is the most important thing when your business, is to understand your customers and to comply to their needs. And we did. We have been able to raise our first fund, which is the second most difficult thing in venture. Well, you find over years that the most difficult is to raise your second fund, but the second biggest is to raise your first fund.
Thanks. Yeah, obviously a lot of communications, mobile companies. Obviously TabTale is a mobile company, but it really sort of stands out. It looks like the only gaming company. Was there anything particular that led you to invest in them originally?
Yeah.
Oh, just in terms of investing in gaming as opposed to other mobile technologies.
Right. So, and why TabTale, you're asking?
Yes.
So in terms of where we invest in the information technology domain, we're very opportunistic driven. So we have some themes in terms of where the IT industry is going. We understand very well the technology trends and disruptions that are going on. But then we are responsive to specific opportunities, which pretty much stem from the specific business opportunity and the team. And this is really what we found attractive in TabTale in the first phase. It was very, very early. It's almost crazy how early it was. I mean, it was pretty much three guys, the three founders, and one app, one game with some traction. But we really liked the team. We thought that the team was fantastic. By the way, we were not wrong on that, which is good news. And the second thing is that they told us a story from a business perspective that was making a lot of sense. And it was a story of disruption. So we understood that there is a discontinuity in the market, and that's what we look for. We look for discontinuity because startup can enter the market when there is discontinuity, and they brought that story to the table.
You mentioned that from a VC standpoint, the hurdles of raising your second fund and accomplishing that. Was there something particularly challenging about what TabTale had to, the barrier they had to cross? No, it was just there's something that was particularly challenging that TabTale had to overcome.
The answer is yes. Let me tell you, business is always challenging. Okay, there is not it's very unfortunate, but if you're in a business or in a company, and you feel that you have a minute to rest, then you are in big trouble, because that means you don't understand something. Okay, and something is going to hit you soon. Okay, so it's challenging all the time. It's really challenging, especially in startups. The dimensions of the challenge are changing also all the time. So obviously, when you're very early and you're three people, there are certain challenges. And when you're hundreds of people and you're a global company and you are ranked among the top 5 global games company, there are different challenges. And one of the most important things for management at different stages is to understand what are the critical challenges in every stage and to focus just on those specific challenges. From a management perspective, this is the most important thing because you can't really act on a lot of things. You can, in a really efficient way, you can really focus the company and act on only few things. And this is, in my opinion, you know, in 25 years of management experience, 16 years in venture, is the number one critical thing in management is to crystallize your critical issues.
I have a question for Mr. Sagi. I come from Serbia. I happen to know that you've acquired that studio in Belgrade, and I know some people from there. So I was wondering whether TabTale is maybe looking to further expand in the Balkan area, or particularly in Serbia.
The answer is yes. we work quite a lot in East Europe and in the Balkans. I think the Balkans, especially for us, is a terrific opportunity. Like I mentioned, DNA is critical thing when building a company, and especially when it's global. Israelis there are manuals on how to deal with Israeli people. So, and I think we're looking for like-minded, tempered countries and people. We found the Balkans. I mean, we have a team in Macedonia. We have the company that we acquired in Serbia, and it's growing now. So for us, it's a terrific opportunity of like-minded people, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of understanding and need to succeed. And yes, we are growing. So, and we have special people. If you want to grow with us, you can join our team.
I was just wondering, as far as investment rounds go, what were you guys looking to achieve apart from just money? Like, what were the objectives for each funding round that you guys were raising?
The first round was about survival. We just wanted to ramp up the business. You had the initial plan, and like any startup, you plan one thing and you pivot. Usually, from the base assumptions that we came to the table, a few were stuck, like Flash is not there, and the iPads were a big hit. But interactive books, which we thought can be a huge money-making, because $8 billion of industry just in the US, nobody's buying interactive books on the Apple or Google store. So we altered. So we added education and casual games. Later rounds were about growth, usually funding growth, which is either going to more geolocations, acquisitions, enhancing the team beyond what the regular operation allows. And for us, it's also a lot have been about operational excellence. If you want to be successful in gaming, you need to understand how to build your ROI on your business. It's very easy to try and build huge things without ever seeing it profitable. So we were always looking to see how we are not letting go on DNA and on talent, but still building something that is economically sustainable and getting help from funding when we wanted to grow. So and that specifically was really helpful.
Thank you.